let's go over to Houston really quickly, ladies and gentlemen. So John Whitmire. John Whitmire is now the mayor of Houston. He's the leader of the Houstonians. Former senator, Democratic Senator John Whitmire, older white man with a bald head. I'm feeling him. I'm liking it. That's my alter ego. Older white man with a bald head is now the mayor of, or in a month he will be. He's the mayor-elect of Houston, and he defeated Sheila Jackson. Now, before we get into this, before we break this down, I want to emphasize one thing, because I literally just noticed this as I'm watching it, right? Hold on. There are 2.288 million people as of the 2021 census. Over 2.2 million people live in Houston. Over 2.2 million people live in Houston. Now, compared to New York, where there's over 8.5 million people living in New York specifically, which is one of the reasons why New York is in need of some good sanitation and making sure you get them rats off that street. And they're the highest costing city in America. 2.2 million people live in Houston. Anwar, you see where I'm going with this? 68,000 people voted for Sheila Jackson, and 128,000 people voted for John Whitmire. And Johnson says it's definitely in the 3 million range now that we're going into 2024. Listen, less than 200,000 people, less than 10% voter turnout rate. Let me emphasize this again. The local election is more important than the national election. It is the thing that is going to impact you on a regular basis, meaning that your millages, your community colleges, where the school funding is going, how the city council is going to allocate resources, whether you're going to become a sanctuary city, so on and so forth. And I keep saying this, I keep hitting on this, and I say it on a regular basis, that I don't want to hear no excuses from anybody in any of these urban communities in these blue cities when you get a Brandon Johnson and Eric Adams and all of these different mayors, or Mike Johnson, or whoever it is that's in your city. Now, they telling me that John Whitmire is actually a good guy, and I want to break this down for you guys. But let's be very, very clear. You have less than a 10%, less than 200,000, and some people are saying that the population is officially probably skyrocketed closer to 3 million now from the 2.28 million people that have been identified in 2021. And we know that a lot of people moved over to Houston. A lot of people moved into the city. You guys have less than a 10% voter turnout rate. If that is not one of the most disappointing things that we can first take from this election before we even deep dive into who John Whitmire is, and thank you God, just from the optics that he actually defeated Sheila Jackson Lee. Not saying anything is bad with Sheila Jackson Lee, but I think that we need more male leaders, more strong, seasoned guys that understand, that are servants of the community, more strong male leaders inside of our institutions. Let's go ahead and get started with this, y'all.
All right, Houston voters turning out to elect the city's next mayor. State Senator John Whitmire overcoming opponent Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee to take control of the fourth largest city in the country. Whitmire bringing in 65% over the Congresswoman's 35%. Our Shelby Rose was at the George R. Brown Convention Center to hear the mayor-elect speak.
Well, this was a campaign watch party that ended sooner than everyone thought, but obviously in a good way if you were a supporter of now Mayor-elect John Whitmire. He took the stage around 9 o'clock alongside his two daughters and grandsons and some former colleagues of
Reading
his,
super chat, Shirley.
Sylvia Garcia and Senator Carol Alvarado. Now, when he took the stage, he had a long list of thank yous while also talking about the things that he wants to see change in the city of Houston. He does say that he believes that we do live in a great city, while also admitting that there are some problems that need to be fixed.
Great cities solve their problems. We will make this a safer city. We will do it by recruiting more officers, supporting the officers we have, the coalition building with other agencies. Our infrastructure will be repaired and fixed, not only streets, but water. Great city.
Okay, so let me say this. I love everything that he's saying. I think that, and of course, this is just an election day speech, and I didn't follow all of the different speeches that they were giving up to this. But he's saying the basic fundamentals of what it takes in order to make a great city. You got to have good infrastructure. I think a part of it is also public transportation, because Houston is horrible. I mean, Houston is one of the most horrible places that I've ever driven in, outside of Los Angeles and New York. But the fact that Houston doesn't really have a robust public transportation system is one of the things that kind of limit its growth as far as being marketed to, and then allowing for people to really be able to thrive in that city. Because it takes like an hour, depending on what time that you get out there, for you to drive from one side of the city to the other. It's a massive city too. But infrastructure, education, infrastructure meaning water, because we know that Houston's water was trash, and they had a black woman that was in the office as far as controlling where all of the contracts was going, and they was leveraging public institution funds to the tune of over $87 million, right? It's unfortunate that Anton would know more about your city than a lot of people that even live in Houston. It's unfortunate that I know so much more about Chicago, Denver, Houston, New York than most of the people. I bet y'all that most of y'all don't even know who y'all alderman is over in Chicago. Probably don't know who your treasurer is. Probably don't know who your city council person is. It's unfortunate. I know some of the most dynamic aspects of some of y'all cities that some of y'all probably aren't even familiar with. Education, public transportation, infrastructure updates, safety. Education. If I was running for office, these are the things that I would run on. Education, infrastructure, public transportation. You hear me? Education, infrastructure, public transportation, safety. Meaning that you have to have a good relationship with your officers. They got to make a lot of money. They have to be supported. You have to really, really get behind your police department if you really want to thrive, and you have to recruit for the best people in the country. You have to compete against other policing agencies in order to get the best people in the country. Safe, and when people feel safe, when they feel like they can send their kids there and they can raise their kids in a decent environment as far as the school, got to support the teachers, got to support the principals, got to change the dynamics of how you operate within your city, right? That's number two. Infrastructure, meaning infrastructure is everything. Roads, water, the basics, the needs. You have to continuously reinvest in that. You take more money away from the social programs, but you enable more people to be able to support themselves. Teaching a man how to fish instead of giving them a fish, you would actually make for a great city. They got to be able to want to send their kids there. They got to want to be able to raise a family there. They have to be able to have the opportunities. When you provide those four things, you then set the foundation for businesses to thrive and for people to want to be able to get there, right? So he's saying all of the right things.
Cities do not boil their water for 2 days. Together, we can
minus the herpes.
And of those in attendance, Houston Police Chief Troy Finner. We had a chance to speak with him about how he thinks about our new mayor of the city of Houston.
I feel good about it. He's a great man. A lot of respect in our city. It's just important that everybody works together and keep moving our city forward. And a new mayor come in with his own ideas, and everybody need to respect that and move forward.
It's really good when you got the police chief on your side, because it looks like they can work together. And so this is the thing about government. Government is a space where you're supposed to work together for the good of the people. It's not supposed to be divisive. It's supposed to be something that supports the people.
But we still do have to wait about a month to see John Whitmire take the seat as mayor, as he will be sworn in January. Reporting at the George R. Brown, Shelby Rose, Fox 26 News.
Meantime, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee conceding her loss in the race. The Congresswoman throwing her support behind Mr. Whitmire and vowing to continue her work as a public servant.
Our work is not completed. This was a journey. I am a public servant. And being a public servant, you never stop working. I hope you will allow me to continue to work and serve you as I have done in the past. because that is what I will do.
The mayor's race, not the only one Houstonians decided on Saturday, of course. The city controller's seat and several city council seats.
I'm not a fan of I mean, if I see a good woman candidate, I'm just not. I don't know why a woman would want to run for that type of seat in the first place. Let me see if I can learn a little bit more about John Whitmire.
Now, a decision in 2023 where State Senator John Whitmire was elected as the new mayor of Houston in a landslide win. He celebrated his win at the George R. Brown Convention Center last night.
Tonight we're going to celebrate. I want to shake your hands, but in the morning we go to work. Thank you.
After covering the mayor-elect's watch party last night, KPRC2 investigator Mario Diaz had a one-on-one conversation with the state senator this morning about the campaign and his plans for the city of Houston.
But do you view the result as people saying we need to have a dramatic shift?
Oh, there's no doubt that people are ready for change, including me, or I wouldn't have been in the race. If things were working smooth, I wouldn't put myself and my family through 2 tough years of campaigning.
How do you?
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't ever see myself ever running for any seat whatsoever because that's a grind. That is grueling. And your family got to be on par, and you got to be married, and you got to be holding hands and waving, and you can't be calling women hoes and all of that stuff. I'm not about to be sitting here playing that game because if I see somebody that's a hoe and ain't for the streets, I'm going to just call it exactly like it is. Now, if I see a woman that's a wife, I'm going to be like, hey, wifey, congratulations. And then if I see a woman that just so happened to be single, but she's preserving herself for marriage, I'm going to say, what up, boo? I see you, baby girl. And then if I see a woman that's out there for the streets, I'm going to say the streets need you. To the pavement shall you returneth. And then they not going to like that. They not going to like that. They going to say Anton not elect. It don't really matter if they like it or not because only 10% of the population going to show up to vote anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Get that smooth road going in the first 100 days.
I'm going to have a great team. I have a lot of experience. I'm going to reach out to Houstonians, those that were for me and some that were opposed to me, and we're going to sit down and work things out. We're going to have proposals. We're not going to kick the can down the road. I don't have time to waste talking about my age. You know, I'm willing to give some of the best remaining years of my life to Houstonians because
I like this guy. I like this guy. He got a strong jaw on him. If anybody's ever seen Moneyball, you got to evaluate whether or not a guy is in his masculinity based off of a strong jawline. He's very direct. He said, I ain't got a whole lot of time to waste as far as my age. I've been doing this for a while. We need change in Houston. We need to support the police. We got to make sure that we fix the water and the infrastructure. We got to work with even the people that don't like me. And so I ain't got time to be playing no games. I'm going to run it up. Houston, y'all might have y'all one. Y'all might have y'all one. Houston, y'all might have a good one. I ain't seen a good mayor in a while out here in these streets. But Houston might have one. Houston might have one.